Yes, you're in the pink.
Why do the Democrats think the Russians hacked the DNC to help you?
I'd like to say first, I have no dealings with Vladimir Putin. This is a narrative devised by the Democratic Party just to hurt my campaign. I know nothing of Russia. Russia can do what Russia does, but I have no dealings with Russia or Vladimir Putin. This is a narrative by the Democrats. Thank you.
I'll now take some questions. Any questions?
Mr. Hitt, I have a question.
When did you know that Mr. Trump was right for this country as a leader, and when did you decide to put your support behind?
Well, first of all, I would like to begin by saying thank you, American people, for allowing me to be here. And also like to thank Mr. Trump for allowing me to run alongside him in the race for presidential candidacy. But I would like to say that I decided to stand behind Trump when I realized that together, as a team, we can achieve the goals that we are set out to do. Achieve the goals of making America great once again. And I feel like together, and with the team that we have behind us, we will create a stronger, better America.
All right, I'll now take some questions, please. Yes.
What are your and Mr. Clinton's plans to reduce our $19.5 trillion debt?
Well, I haven't really thought of that much. I'd have to give some more consideration into that.
Further answer that? With my plan, we will reduce the national debt by $1.2 trillion tax increase of those who are at the top. For Trump, his proposal would increase the debt massively by 127% of the economy. With my plan, that includes college education, paid family leaves, and infrastructure, the economy would be safer. I'll now take any questions.
How do you feel about legalizing hemp?
Good question. I believe that we should move marijuana from a Schedule I drug to a Schedule II drug so that we can conduct further research for the health benefits. But until then, I think that we need to be cautious until we for sure know the benefits, and then we can draw conclusions from there. Thank you.
I'll now take some more questions, please.
Senator,
Yes, ma'am.
how will you and Secretary Clinton handle the abuse of the welfare system by those that could be working?
Well, we're going to cut welfare spending to decrease dependency onto the welfare system itself to weed out any possible abusers.
I will now take a question. Are there any questions?
I have a question for Mr. Trump.
Yes. Comments? Yes.
Yes.
Why are you the only candidate that has not released his taxes?
Well, it's very simple. I am under an IRS audit. According to my lawyers and according to lots of other lawyers, once you're under an IRS audit, you're not supposed to release your tax returns. So for me, I would be glad to release my tax returns, but I will not at this point since I'm under an IRS audit. It's very odd because it's like I'm on an audit every year. I've been audited for like 16 years in a row. And I don't know if they're targeting me, but I will release my tax returns when the audit is over. Thank you.
Are there any questions for me? Yes, you.
Do you plan on reinstating the No Child Left Behind policy when you take office? Why or why not?
You see, we have not really looked well into the No Child Left Behind policy because we are focusing on issues that we believe are of the exact emergency essence. such as the issues in the Middle East or as in our current economy with our $19 trillion debt. Thank you.
Can I make a statement on that?
Yes. I believe in education that Common Core is a very ineffective plan for our nation, which Common Core goes in hand with the No Child Left Behind instated by President Bush. Me personally, I want education to be local. I want it to be in the states and local, and I do not want the federal government to have anything to do with education. I feel that communities do a better job than the people on the top in Washington. Thank you.
Can I expand on that, please? As a U.S. Senator, I served on the Senate Health, Education, and Labor Committee as a key member shaping the No Child Left Behind Act, with the hope that it would bring needed resources and real accountability to improve educational opportunities for our most disadvantaged students. But because the No Child Left Behind Act is flawed, I support President Obama's Act, Every Student Succeeds Act, which is widely considered a fix to the No Child Left Behind biggest flaws. Thank you.
While we may not have talked about the No Child Left Behind policy, education is of the most important essence of us. It is a top priority for us. As governor of Indiana, I actually established the HB 1001 bill in my own state. It made education a top priority. Among other things, it included a charter capital grant, removed the dollar cap on vouchers, increased funding to support career and technical education, and increases the scholarship granting organization tax credit. In my own state, we have increased graduation rates. We have improved math and reading skills of elementary students. And I, as Vice President, will apply these things to the United States to further the education of our country. Thank you.
Are there any questions for me?
What are your and Senator Clinton's plans to reduce our $19.5 trillion debt?
Well, I haven't really put that into a lot of consideration. I'd have to think further on it.
Any questions? Yes?
You want to ban military-style weapons. Can you define a military-style weapon?
Yes. People are able to get their hands on assault rifles, which are weapons of war, and shoot innocent people on the streets, including children. The only sure way to prevent something like the Orlando shooting is to ban military-style weapons. Addressing your question, these weapons are firearms for use by the military that are able to shoot continuously with one pull of the trigger, machine gun style. Civilian firearms, on the other hand, only allow one shot per trigger pull. These are weapons that are unnecessary and pose a serious threat to our society. I am not here to repeal the Second Amendment. I am just here to reform it so that your children and your friends and your peers are not shot in the street, because you do not deserve that. Thank you.
Can I comment on that? Is this okay? Okay.
The Second Amendment must not be affected. The Second Amendment must be protected, and it must not be diminished. Our founding fathers implemented the Second Amendment to protect our rights as citizens in case a government gone mad has become gone mad to where the citizens are not represented correctly. And I say to you, I will protect your rights to own and bear weapons. Hillary Clinton will not give you this right. Thank you.
Actually, I am not going to take away your Second Amendment. That is very important for you. Those are your rights. I am just here to make sure that you are not harmed in any way. I don't mind if you have guns. They are good in certain purposes. But to have military-style guns that shoot countless bullets, that's not what we need. That just harms us more than protects us. Thank you.
You see, the thing is, our Second Amendment right is not for us just to be able to carry a little pistol or in our bedroom when a robber comes in. It is not just for us to use hunting rifles to take game. It is also there to protect your rights. It is an amendment set in stone that we have to make sure that the people have power. taking away military-style guns is just another step. It's a precedent that will keep going on and snowball until we are left powerless. Thank you.
I have a question for Mr.
Yes.
Why do you feel the need to judge women based upon their weight and appearance?
I love and cherish women. I do not judge women by their looks, appearance, or weight. This is an attack on me. This is a narrative bringing up by the corrupt media and the Democrats. I love women, and I cherish women. No one respects women more than me, and I feel that that's an unfair question. Thank you.
Can I expand on that, please? Mr. Trump, can you account for your recent comments that you have made about women that contradict what you have just said?
I know which statements you're referring to. That was locker room talk, and I formally apologize for those statements. They were wrong. That was 11 years ago, and I have learned from my experiences, and I will do better. But I tell you, I love and cherish women.
I would like to make a comment. Since being on what is known as the Trump train, and I realized that Donald Trump has changed. He is not the man that we saw in 2005 on that bus. He is not the same man in any aspect. I will go ahead and say, and I am very proud to say this statement, I'm a Christian. That is my number one thing. And I feel that as a nation, me and Donald, we're going to be able to be respectful, and we will be respectful, and we will cherish women. That's what we do. And I feel like we are being judged. And I just feel like together that we will create a safer America that is greater and more conservative and better. Thank you.
While I thank you for your apologies, locker room talk is not necessarily something that a lot of women in America feel is appropriate still. What kind of locker room are you referring to? And would you like your daughter to be talked to that way?
I didn't want to bring this up, but what I have said is wrong. I should not have said it. But what Bill Clinton has done, it is more of actions. Mine is more of talk. I don't want to elaborate on that at all, but I would like to point that out, that he has had actions and mine are just words. The locker room I'm referring to is maybe more of guys talking to other guys and not necessarily guys talking to women. It's more of just play, not really real. And I have, once again, learned from my mistakes.
Before we start a fist fight, are there any more questions? Go ahead.
Hillary, where are your emails?
Out of the 62,320 emails I had on my server, the State Department reviewed which emails were deemed necessary to be turned over. 30,490 emails were turned over, and the remaining emails were personal emails of mine. The State Department Foreign Affairs Manual outlined guidance designed to help employees determine which of their email messages must be preserved as federal records and which may be deleted without further authorization because they are not federal records, but because they are personal. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Okay, how are you guys going to pay for free or reduced college?
Well, we'd like to put more funding into the education fund. That by doing which, by 2021, the families with up to income of 125 will pay no tuition to the state.
Are there any questions for me?
Mr. Trump, why is a wall needed?
When I am president, I will build a huge wall on our southern border. This wall is a necessity to our country because we have millions and millions of illegal immigrants pouring across our borders. And we have a drug trade that is destroying our country and its children. Teenagers, adults, Everyone is affected by the drug trade, and this wall will prevent the drugs from being traded. Also, it's not just going to be a wall, it's going to be securing our borders. We're going to have all of the latest technologies to protect this wall from tunneling, from going over the wall, and we will have a big, beautiful door in the middle of this wall to allow legal citizens into this country that have gone through the legal process. And this wall makes a statement that we are a nation of borders and not a nation that takes in anybody, and a nation of laws, a nation that respects the rule of law. And so when I'm president, me and Mike Pence will build a huge wall. Thank you.
Mr. Trump? Thank you. If we claim we are for family, then we have to pull together and resolve outstanding issues around immigration reform. The American people support comprehensive immigration, but our economy and it strengthens our country. We can't wait any longer for a path for full and equal citizenship. We cannot build walls, but we must build bridges. We cannot keep people out that have founded and shaped our country into the wonderful diversity that it is. Thank you.
One
I'd like
last
to
question
respond
for
to
each
that.
candidate. We have time for one last question for Secretary Clinton, one last question for Mr. Trump.
Would Ms. Clinton like to go first?
Sure, sir. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Why do you support fracking?
The United States promotes the use of shale gas. Now, I know that in some places this is controversial, but natural gas is the cleanest fossil fuel available for power generation today. However, we will strictly regulate this by considering local conditions, stronger environmental regulations, and the practice of handling chemicals in a safer way. Thank you.
I have a question for Pence. The labor participation rate is the lowest it has been since the 1970s. What will you and Mr. Trump do to get more people back to work?
You see, what we are going to do is we are going to build small businesses. We are going to build the private sector. We are going to increase jobs by offering incentives. We are going to bring jobs back by tariffs. And we are going to do this together to build a greater economy. Thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Trump.
Yes.
How will you handle the abuse of the welfare system by those that can be working?
The welfare system as it sits is, its first intentions by FDR in the 40s was good intentions for the time being. Nowadays, the welfare system has been manipulated and used by our federal government to where it is more dependent. The people on the program are dependent on the program because they're getting more money and more benefits than a minimum wage job. So let's say if you're someone that's at home and gets these benefits, it's better for you to stay at home unemployed, using money from our government versus getting a job. As president, I would like to help small businesses in minimum wage jobs to get to where it's an entry-level job and you could grow and get a raise and get more money in those jobs and make it easier for that to happen. Some people start out at minimum wage and never go higher because of, one reason is because our taxes are so high, especially on income taxes and business taxes. My plan is to lower taxes for corporations, businesses, and for the people, all people. And by doing this, we will make welfare a temporary solution, not a permanent solution, but a temporary solution to get people back into a productive society and to a more productive person and getting them a job. I will also bring jobs and provide jobs for these people from China and Mexico where we are losing jobs. Thank you.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you, candidates.
Thank you.